Welcome to the Alumni Spirit of Service Assembly. My name is Pranweepapumi Prates, and I'm a junior and the Secretary of the Public Purpose Council. Before we meet with this year's award recipient, I would like to introduce a member of the Harpeth Hall National Advisory Council, Lauren Marler Tuning, class of 1994. Following her days at Harpeth Hall, Ms. Tuning graduated from Georgetown University in 1998 with a degree in economics. She then earned her MBA from the University of Virginia in 2004. Ms. Tuning works in Bethesda, Maryland for the Marriott International, the largest hotel chain in the world, serving as the Senior Vice President of the Customer Service Experience. Please join me in giving Ms. Tuning a warm Harpeth Hall welcome.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna cry. I knew you were gonna stand. I'm trying to prepare myself for that. Thank you so much. I am so honored to be able to introduce this year's Alumni Spirit of Service Award winner, Carmine King-Jordan. Before I tell you a little bit about her, just remind you of the Alumni Spirit of Service Award. So it's an award that is given annually. It was established and it's selected by the National Advisory Council. And it recognizes outstanding service to the community by a Harpeth Hall or Ward Belmont alumni. And really, the person who receives this award embodies the spirit of Harpeth Hall's mission to develop responsible citizens of the world. So I'm so excited to tell you about this year's award winner. Oh wait, before I do, I think would love to bring up some previous year's award winners since the award was established in 2010. So, Carmine King-Jordan. So excited to tell you about her. Carmine graduated from Harpeth Hall in 1965. She was class president, and she was most talented, voted most talented in her class. She was a dancer. After college, she ended up in Birmingham, in Mountain Brook, which is a suburb of Birmingham, and she had 3 children, one of which, Andy, has special needs. But for Carmine, and this is something that really struck me as a mom myself, it was not enough just to be a caring mom, advocating for her children. As a natural leader, she really had to do more. She had to go above and beyond. And over the next 20 or so years, she did just that, really in 2 areas. First, with the Mountain Brook School Foundation, she was its first executive director. And in that role, she moved that school system in terms of its service to children with special needs from having 1 special education teacher for the whole school system to having 1 per school. And she also, and this is really just extraordinary, what she's done for an organization called the Exceptional Foundation. So she came to know the Exceptional Foundation. It was a small organization, really a basketball program. And she grew that organization really from the ground up. And now it serves over 700 people with special needs of all ages in the Birmingham area. And even more outstanding, it has grown nationally throughout the Southeast and expanded to other cities. And I think this just really shows how Carmine has really gone above and beyond in the spirit of service to her community and even growing beyond her community. Just to close and to bring Carmine up, I would love to share a quote from her sister, Sally King Norton, who I had the privilege of speaking with as I was researching Carmine for this award. And Sally said, "Carmine has high ideals. She wants the best for our country, for all people. She is wise, dedicated, and persistent. It makes me want to cry because she is so amazing. And it is her dream for all children to have access to an exceptional foundation facility." So please welcome Carmine King-Jordan.
Oh my goodness. Oh, those pictures bring back great memories. First of all, I would like to thank Jess Hill and also to congratulate her on her new role. Thanks also to the Board of Trustees, the National Advisory Council, Scotty Coombs and the Alumni Relations Office, and the classmates who are here. I want to thank the many from my family who are here. In particular, I want to thank my son, Andy, and my daughter, Susan. My oldest son, John's traveling this week for work and couldn't be here. I also want to thank my sister, Sally Norton, who's a Harpeth Hall graduate, might cry, and she spent the time and the love to nominate me for this award. And of course, my husband, Charlie, who he deserves an award for sticking with me for almost 50 years and for all that he has done for the organization I will be telling you about today. I'm overwhelmed to receive the Spirit of Service Award from Harpeth Hall, especially in light of the fact that there are so many graduates who have served the world in so many ways. The last time I spoke in front of an assembly at Harpeth Hall, I was a senior. I was filled with anxiety, and I tried to memorize every word of the speech. Today, I am indeed a senior in the literal sense. I am again filled with anxiety, but at my age, I couldn't memorize the first paragraph, not alone the whole message. My memories of Harpeth Hall are almost all happy. I commuted here from Murfreesboro every day, and when I arrived, I didn't know anyone. I was frightened, and as a small town girl in the big city, I was intimidated, but from the first days, I felt welcomed here. Some of the classmates who welcomed me here at Harpeth Hall and blessed me with their friendships are here today. Thank you. Thank you for including me and for sharing 4 wonderful years at Harpeth Hall. Before I get started, I don't know if you can see, but in a couple of the pictures, I've got a headband on. And although I know that they are coming on strong in the fashion world, that is not a fashion statement for me. I've been dealing with a little skin cancer for the last few months, and the headband was to cover up some bandages. I'm being recognized today for my involvement with and service to an organization based in Birmingham called the Exceptional Foundation. It's a place for those with special needs, but as one staff person puts it, most of all, it's a place for people. Perhaps I should define some of the special needs: autism, Down syndrome, seizure disorder, spina bifida, traumatic brain injury are some of the exceptionalities that we serve. How did I become involved? That's a long story, and it began when our son Andy was born. Andy has Down syndrome, and because of him, my life has gone in directions for which I was ill-equipped. A woman named Emily Pearl Kingsley, who was a writer for Sesame Street, describes it well. She also has a son with Down syndrome. She had a platform and a voice for those with special needs, and because of her position, she used that platform to include people with disabilities in her show. She describes her experience of being a new parent with a child with Down syndrome, like planning a wonderful trip to Italy and then learning when the plane lands that you're in Holland, a place about which you know nothing. You'd read all the books about Italy, and you were ready for that travel itinerary, but the new destination meant learning a whole new language and meeting lots of new people. Similarly, when Andy was born, I, along with my husband, began a journey for which we were ill-prepared. Just as when I arrived at Harpeth Hall, I was at the beginning of a learning process, and both experiences have enriched my life. When Andy was in his teens and needed an additional outlet for his after-school time, he started going to a program at a local park and rec building. Both his older brother and his younger sister were involved in sports and lots of social activities. Although they were, and continue to be, the best siblings Andy could have had, and they always included him in their busy lives, Andy wanted to know when he'd be able to play on a team and get his own jersey, have dates, get a driver's license. And as a parent, you want to provide the same activities for all of your children, and you want those programs to be the best. The program he began attending did provide limited sports and recreational activities on a after-school basis, and he loved it from the very beginning. As this program for those with developmental differences grew to the point where it needed its own space, my husband and I, along with several others, began a campaign to build them our own facility where their activities would have top priority. I had experience with fundraising and had been on several nonprofit boards, so I helped in the background while my husband went out and did the asking for donations. Although there were times when we thought it couldn't be done and we almost gave up, we persisted, and eventually our team raised the necessary funds for our remarkable facility. The Birmingham community has embraced our cause and has been very generous. Now, sitting on what was a pile of dirt in the heart of our community is our beautiful building. The vision of a few became a reality for many, and now houses one of the finest programs anywhere for those who need the services. I cannot adequately describe in words what goes on at the Exceptional Foundation, so I'm going to show you a brief video. Sometimes it's hard to understand the participants, but they say it best, and we do have some captions across the bottom. We have two big fundraisers every year. One is a chili cook-off, and it attracts about 15,000 people from around the community. And then there is entertainment, during which our participants are the show. It is an evening like no other.
Welcome everyone, it is so good to have you all here tonight, ladies, to the program, gentlemen. Welcome to entertainment.
With entertainment, the idea started trying to tell people that our folks are okay.
Well, how y'all doing today? Y'all ready to have fun? Yeah! Are y'all ready to have fun?
Seeing the excitement that they have when they feel accomplished, when they feel like they're where they need to be, it's all over them.
All right, first, when we run through the show, it's going to be our guest. We've got a few people holding the roses, and you're all going to be holding candlesticks, and we're going to go through the crowd.
We did like the hand jive. I was wearing a pink poodle skirt.
So we did grease lighting and a hand drive.
Like people get happy, they clap their hands, they get excited.
Some people are kind of scared of our guys because they don't know what to say or how to approach them.
And they might call them names, and that kind of hurts their feelings. And I love them here. We're like a family, a big family.
They want the same things that adults, you and I want. I mean, they want to have a job. They want to get their driver's license. They want to find love.
I know all the staff here, they're always making events, and they always do a big trip stuff, like boating.
We are a social and recreational facility. We try to be the social life for our participants. So many parents have said after high school is over that their participant would just be at home by themselves all day, or watching TV. And sitting there and they get depressed and they don't feel like they have anyone to connect with. But they come here and they make friends and they connect with other people that are like them.
You know, I can't imagine walking the path that a lot of these parents have had to walk. Years and years and years ago, this population were institutionalized and they were bathed against the wall, and so the education to the community is tremendous, so everyone can see that they can be included. They can hold a job.
And I work on Wednesdays. It's busy too.
What do you do there?
The mail, we run through mail through a machine and do stamps on them.
And I like to help out with the staff. But every time the staff goes somewhere shopping, and every time they get back, I help them with the groceries and put it by the kitchen. It makes me feel like happy, smart. They always love me forever.
Yeah, we're not a daycare. You know, our participants come here, and the most important thing to me is for them to have social skills so that they can be productive members of society.
Washing hands and exercise and healthy things to eat.
Of course, you know, the needs are always monetary. You know, you hate that part of it, but that is part of it.
If there's something we need, Tricia has made sure that we have it, that we have the staff, that we have the vans, we have the facility.
The need is to figure out which child is sitting at home that doesn't know about us. I mean, money solves certain problems, but this is bigger than money. At Dinnertainment, I had a parent come up to me afterwards and said he was sitting at a table. It happened to be that the 3 parents sitting at that table all had children with Down syndrome. In their conversation, they said, we never thought anyone would ever speak to our children or our children would ever have the opportunity to do anything. And he said, now we're sitting here looking at our 3 children on stage entertaining 350 people at the best venue in Birmingham. I mean, that's called giving back. That's pretty good.
As you can see, we got a lot of talent in our organization, and the participants all have confidence that they could win The Voice, America's Got Talent, American Idol, and although I'm not so sure they would win one of those competitions, they're always going to win your heart. People often ask how our program differs from Special Olympics. Special Olympics is not a year-round program, but rather a one-day, perhaps a week program if you make it to the national or international competition. Special Olympics has been very beneficial for individuals with exceptionalities, but its scope is limited, and that focus is sports, and because the competitions are held and then nothing for another year. In contrast, the Exceptional Foundation is a hub of activities of all types for ages 6 on up. There's something going on almost every day of the week. For example, in addition to the day programs this past week, tomorrow morning there are softball games and a service project. And tomorrow night there's a group going to a professional soccer organization event. Then Sunday, there's our wonderful prom. And it's the 15th annual, and everybody will be there with their boutonnieres and their wrist corsages, having a wonderful evening. Because the program has been so successful in Birmingham, we talked about the fact that it spread to other cities. Sometimes cities will come in and they'll see what we're doing and they'll say, this is what I want for my children or the families in my city. Sometimes they come and look at what we do and they already have a name and they go on and expand on their programs. We're happy to share everything that we have and help them get started. For over 20 years, it has been my pleasure and honor to serve an organization that helps so many, and in particular, our son. Families worry when a child with special needs is born about things like what they'll be able to do, how will they make friends, Will they be accepted? Will they be able to have a good life filled with meaningful and fun experiences? The typical population is able to go out and choose from lots of activities, but services are much more limited for those with exceptionalities. Every member of our family benefits from the Exceptional Foundation. And this is not to say that Andy wouldn't have had friends without it. One of his very best friends from elementary school became the top personal aide to President George W. Bush. Our whole family was invited to spend an afternoon at the White House and got a personal tour of the West Wing because of Andy's connections. But during the normally slower times, we don't have to worry about him being bored at home alone watching TV. Even though he has a great job at Publix and works 3 days a week, his life would not be complete without the Exceptional Foundation, where he experiences fun-filled activities, sadness, joy, love, friendship, and life at its fullest. Why is the Exceptional Foundation successful? That success is not because of me or what I have done. It is successful because of some of the same reasons that Harpeth Hall is successful. Both have high standards for excellence. Like Harpeth Hall, the Exceptional Foundation has become a model in its area of service. Young women come here and choose Harpeth Hall, no doubt because of its reputation and tradition. The Exceptional Foundation would be a very lonely place if the programs were not of the highest quality. Secondly, both organizations are never satisfied with the status quo. The same education or excellence that is adequate today is not going to be good enough for tomorrow. Even though my experience at Harpeth Hall served me well throughout my life, prepared me for college and career and community service, those same experiences would not meet your needs. Harpeth Hall has the same standards of excellence that it had in the 60s, but has evolved to address those standards according to your needs. Just as Harpeth Hall continues to add facilities, improve curriculum, and meet new challenges, the Exceptional Foundation has had it on 3 times and is continually striving to adapt the program to achieve the very best. Just this week, our CEO is looking at how she can change the configuration of the building to meet changing demands. Finally, both Harpeth Hall and the Exceptional Foundation nurture an atmosphere that is positive and enriches lives, both within their walls and beyond. The impact of that encouraging atmosphere will be reflected through you to others, just as the smiles on the faces of those at the foundation bring joy to all who are around them. We have no trouble recruiting volunteers to coach teams or teach dance lessons, help with art projects or whatever. Everybody's having fun. Each of you will have the opportunity to help Harpeth Hall or some other organization as you transition through life. Harpeth Hall needs volunteers just as the Exceptional Foundation needs volunteer support. I met some of those who are on the Public Purpose Initiative here, and I'm so impressed with the exciting things that you young women are doing already. Now you're laying the foundation for your journey through the next phases of your life. Although the paths of that adventure, you might have some detours, some potholes. You might have to change your plans completely. Because of my experience here at Harpeth Hall, and because I have a son with Down syndrome, I have chosen to be a strong advocate for education and for those with special needs throughout most of my life. There are many of you in the room who will create and/or support initiatives that tug on your hearts. Although I cannot tell you that it's easy or that every minute is filled with fun, it's certainly worth your effort. When during your journey, the opportunity to help others through service comes along, I encourage you to seize it and wear a hat and sunscreen. Thank you so much.
I want to thank Mrs. Jordan for inspiring all of us today, for lifting all of our spirits, and I thank you, Andy, for inspiring her so much. And here's just a small token. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to ask Dr. Adams to come forward, and I'll hand the podium over to her. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Congratulations, Ms. Jordan, and your entire family and your cheering section, which is very impressive. Now that I can see everybody from up here. I'm Dr. Adams. I'm the Upper School Public Purpose Coordinator here at Harpeth Hall, and I'm so happy to be here with you today as you learn about Mrs. Jordan and her work with Mountain Brook School Foundation and the Exceptional Foundation, because I think her story is a tremendous example of being the change that you wish to see. When all voices have a seat at the table, the entire conversation is elevated because meaningful inclusion is better for everyone. And I hope that that's something that you kind of sit with and take with you today. One of the most important parts of her story is how Mrs. Jordan saw a need, a gap, and did what she could to meet that need. And that requires the patience to listen before acting and responding. Rather than just doing what she wanted or what she thought was needed, she listened to people with disabilities, to their families, to what they were saying, and assembled a multifaceted, high-powered team that worked together to meet a need. And this is what it looks like to be a good partner. These values of inclusion, compassion, collaboration, and drive underpin Harpeth Hall's mission to develop responsible citizens who have global perspectives and make meaningful contributions to their communities and the world. So this afternoon, I would like to take a moment to recognize our students, current students, who have dedicated their time, energy, and efforts to make meaningful contributions this year. The President's Volunteer Service Award is the nation's premier volunteer awards program and encourages citizens to live a life of service through national recognition. It's based on the number of hours served. This year, Harpeth Hall students reported over 5,100 hours served, and we are recognizing 24 upper school students today. I would also like to acknowledge the class of 2020, who account for 1,728 of these reported hours, or 1/3 of our collective total. So congratulations to you all. Always competitive service. I like it. All of these girls embody empathy, reciprocity, recognition of their social responsibility, and the appreciation of diversity in our community and the world. So I went through their logs, which is how they submit their service hours, and I pulled a random sample of some of the examples of service that are represented here, which is my favorite part of this exercise every year. So, served meals at Room in the Inn, Nashville Dolphin swim practice, cat sitting for free, collected and analyzed ocean data to study the effects of climate change for a nonprofit environmental organization, planned the Lawala badminton tournament, knitted a section of a blanket for an orphaned rhinoceros. But wide-ranging. My point is that some of these things are big and they sound really impressive, and some of them are small, but they all count because they all make the world a little bit better and a little bit brighter, and they all represent somebody giving what she had to give at that moment to fill a need. I believe all our students will continue to serve and inspire others to a lifelong commitment to purpose as well. And I know that there are many hours and many acts of good and service and kindness that are not represented up here. They're not reported hours, they are just known to you as you go about your lives. But I would not be at all surprised if there's more than one future recipient of the Spirit of Service Award sitting in here today. This group is so amazing, and I just feel like you all get stronger and stronger every year with what you're able to pull off in no free time whatsoever. So congrats to you. First, I would like to recognize the Bronze Level Presidential Service Award. So we're going to go through the levels. Please stand in place and remain standing until all the names are read. Bronze Award recognizes those who have given over 100 hours. Lola Daniel, stand up. Hannah King, Amelia Reddy, Ava Claire Williams, Caroline Christian, Emily Cashin, Sarah Lillard, Ann Earthman, Hannah Claire Fisher, Katie Kennedy, Elisa Kajiani, Silver Award, 175 to 249 hours, Sarah Emma Kahane. There you are. Prim Wipad Puma Prates, Taylor Kappelman, Bryden Holiday, Maggie Sullivan, Gracie Stambaugh, Annie Stewart, Amanda Curtis, and Katarina Carter. And then really pulling off feats of free time, 250 hours or more, and all of these had well over 250. We're in the 300 range here. Ellie Ford, Amy Gilmore, and Gabby Kapanka. Remember that our service year runs from April 1 through March 31, so we're now kind of in next year's year. So you can begin logging hours now for next year's awards, which I encourage you to do. And if you're inspired by Mrs. Jordan's story today and are interested in giving more of yourself, your time, your talents, please come find me and we'll link you up with a way that does that. Thank you to all Harpeth Hall students who participated in service this year, whether reported or unreported. No act is too small, and your service is greatly appreciated. Congratulations again to all of our award recipients and to Mrs. Jordan. And Charlotte.